Jetzt läuft's. Also, welcome once again from Switzerland to the RC Brothers Switzerland. Today we just wanted to talk briefly about the two planes behind us, the Conscendo Evolution and the Turbo Timber Evolution. Now, funny enough, they're both called Evolution. They are both the third step in a long line of Conscendos and of timbers and turbo timbers. And as you can see, they're still in the box because they are actually our backup planes. We liked them so much so that when they came a little bit on sale here in Switzerland, we jumped at it and bought some replacements, who knows, for the future, or just even when we want to fly both a turbo timber at the same time or a Conscendo. So first a few words about the Conscendo Evolution. Why do we like it? Why do we have it?
And why is for fly really good for listeners? The second is not a real plane truth.
Okay, so I'll try to translate the mix of German and English here from my younger RC brother. So, because it flies very well, and it's not really a plane because it's a glider, it's a motor glider, it's our only motor glider. We're not really fan of gliders or motor gliders or anything like that, but I think everybody should have at least one. Yeah. Yeah, or three or four or five. Yeah, but one. It's really cool. It can be flown with 3S or 4S, although I heard bad stories, seeing bad things about props breaking or the plastic spinner breaking on 4S. We tried it once or twice. I don't think it's necessary. We fly it on a 3S 2200 Smart Pack, and it has plenty of power. And we put some LED lights on the left and right side of the one that we're currently flying, and so this is our reserve. I think if we could say that they should make some improvements on it, Evolution 2, maybe they could put one with flaps, because it's really tough to land. It doesn't want to land. You need to bleed off a lot of speed, and I think it would be cool to have flaps. And while you're at it, put some cool lights on it so we don't have to put our own LEDs on it. Now I understand this makes it more expensive, but I think flaps would be really cool on this plane. It's a great floater. It can fly forever, right? Once I flew 45 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah, because of course you can turn off the prop. That's the whole point of it being a glider. It has wonderful, very strong wings, and you can catch thermals. You can put it up in the air. You can turn the prop off, on, off, on, off, on, so you can fly forever. And I think we realized that one of the great things about the Conscendo Evolution is that when the weather is bad in the late fall, winter time, very early spring, and you just want to go for a few minutes, it's cold anyhow, you just maybe take this plane, put one battery in it, and that's it. And if the grass is wet, if it's not really nice on the ground or some snow on the ground, hey, no problem. You have a Conscendo Evolution. It can land easily, very well on wet grass or snow. So I think it would be nice if it had a wheel, maybe for the summer.
It's
Yeah,
gonna have this
plastic piece, and there's another plastic piece here, but it's not really a wheel. But maybe that is not as important. I still think if they come out with a new version, then I think they're just gonna upgrade the telemetry. I think the size is super, the wings are super. The point where it can break, if you have a bad landing or if it catches the grass, yeah, exactly where Noah was just pointing to, it's always the same place when you have one of those foamies land a little bit, unfortunately, or catch the grass, or a wing catches on the grass, which may not have been cut nicely, then this is the place just behind the cockpit where the battery is, where the battery tray is inside, that it will break the foam. But then you put some foam safe glue on it, and within a few seconds the whole thing is repaired. We took it home, but we didn't do it on the field. We had a repair on one of ours, and it flies. The cool thing about these is it just continues to fly. It's just, some people say it flies better even, you know, after a plane has been broken. I doubt that that's true. But I can certainly say that if a plane has been broken before, and then is put together again the way it should be put together again, it just flies as if nothing ever happened to it before. We put a red and a green LED under the wings on each side. It helps us when it's very high up to see the direction, if it's facing us or facing away. And that's why I think it would be helpful to have in a new version maybe strong LED lights, particularly the position lights, the green and the red, and the flaps. You really, if you have this plane, you don't really have to throw it. You put it in safe, you turn it on, it just flies out of your hand. Now be careful with the prop. Doesn't hit your fingers, doesn't hit somebody else's head, your head cuts off your head. But you really don't need to throw it. It just takes off, and that's no problem. It flies easily. We actually got bored up to a stage once with our first Conscendo Evolution, because we felt we're not the guys who are totally into crazy turns and crazy spins. So eventually we sold it to somebody else. Then we started to miss it, particularly in bad weather days when we still wanted to fly, but it was kind of, well, bad weather. I'm saying it was just too windy and cloudy and not so nice for flying our nice planes. And we bought a second one. That's the one we broke. Actually, twice. Here at more or less the same spot. Once it was me, once it was Noah. And but we really enjoy it. And so this is our reserve, our pristine condition, beautiful, still in the box Conscendo Evolution. Highly recommended. You do need a place to fly it. It's a glider, it's 150 meters, it can go very high, it can fly very far, it can be very fast, it can fly very gently. When it comes down to land, it needs a lot of space, and you may need to approach 2 or 3 times before you actually can put it down gently onto the grass or onto your runway. Now, below is our favorite, our absolutely favorite E-flite plane, or any of the, we have one Hopi Zone and we have one which is a balsa plane, which we bought from a friend. So that one is not Horizon Hobby, but inside the whole technology is the Spectrum, 2 Spectrum receivers and the Spectrum Smart ESC. So here, from all of the planes that we own, this is our favorite, the Turbo Timber Evolution. We love a high wing plane, stall plane, big Tundra tires. It has a lot of beautiful LEDs, beautiful lights. It has flaps, okay, which is really cool if you want to come in and make a really slow landing. Now, these are foamies, yeah. Foamies are light anyhow. The slats we never put on our model, and we're not going to put it on this reserve backup as well. To us, and from what we've heard, it makes the plane more unstable, and it's stable the way it is. It's STOL, stall, short takeoff and landing. Anyhow, it's a foamy. It's in the air after 2 or 3 meters. If you want it to be in the air fast, you can also make a more gentle, beautiful takeoff, and no problem to land. So I don't see, so even the flaps, yes, the flaps is nice if you want to come into some really, really short place and you're really playing stall fly. I think we've seen a really cool video on YouTube somewhere where one guy has a very short landing space and takeoff space in between a wood, in between the forest. It's crazy. And this is also where the reverse thrust can come in. We haven't programmed it yet. Okay, we have a big flying field. We don't need that extra feature. Noah played with it on the real flight simulator, and you can crash the plane, right?
Well, yeah. I only crashed it like this. And I aim on them turns and then it's like got straight up.
Yeah, so I don't know if you know, there have been people who made a mistake in the air. So it's a great feature. We'll probably eventually program it. From what we know, you should also move the ESC forward in the fuselage. I think it's at the place where it can overheat. Now, we never had that problem with ours. but also we haven't flown it in a hot summer day yet, and probably before we fly it in a hot summer day, we will probably move the ESC forward so it gets more air. Please pay attention. E-flite has, Horizon Hobby has released a video about that. So what can we say? We've shown you a couple of videos already of some of the planes that we have. There's certainly more coming. We want to talk more about the Apprentice and some other planes that we have. But certainly the Conscendo Evolution is our only motor glider. And although we sold the first one, we immediately regretted it, because there are days when you go to our flying field and the only planes that guys seem to bring on that day are motor gliders, because of the wind conditions, because of the weather. And then you also want to be one that has it. One of the things that I don't like, Horizon Hobby, if you're listening, some of your planes have a great way of attaching and reattaching and detaching wings. This one comes with four little bolts, four little screws, four little tiny screws, and we put it in. This is nothing I want to have to do on the field on and off, and this is really very annoying. It would be really nice to have a system that you can bolt it on easier and take it off and transport it without the wings, because 150 is very big. So this is just a plane that we cannot, with those little tiny screws it came, take it on and off. Another thing is, a lot of people are afraid and complaining that in the back the elevator is only attached with tape. Now, we never had any issues. There are some guys who claim that because of that the elevator flew off or broke off. So maybe in a next generation they can have two screws there, two strong screws that hold the elevator. So I think the Conscendo Evolution, as cool as it is, it probably could afford a version 2.
Yes.
Some LEDs, flaps, fix the wing, the way the wing is attached more and comes off more easily, and the elevator. So there are things that you can still improve Horizon Hobby to make it version 2. The Turbo Timber Evolution, quite frankly, everything they have done about this plane compared to the Turbo Timber before and the Timber, I think have been really improvements. And also the top hatch loading of the battery, and the wheels are sturdy. It comes with floats. Now, we never use floats. We don't go fly off water because we don't think that makes a lot of sense for us. It's not the same thing, and it's very difficult to find where we live to do it legally. Okay, we live in a small country with a lot of people and animals, and so you can't just find an open piece of water and just go and fly. But it's in the kit. So I really think this is one of the completest kits you can buy. This is definitely not your first plane. It could absolutely be your second plane if you can handle an Apprentice or an Air Scout or a T-28. You can fly this as a second plane, definitely as a third plane. I would say second plane, it's a number 2, level 2. The Conscendo Evolution is level 2. The Conscendo Evolution also is not a first plane because of hand launching and landing, but flying.
One.
Is it 1? Yeah, I agree. Noah has been flying the Conscendo, stay in the camera. Noah has been flying the Conscendo many times. And he has been landing it already, but of course he's a kid and I'm not going to let him, throw this big thing with that big propeller. So just be aware, if that's not for you, then that's not for you. And the Turbo Timber Evolution, yes, it's a great stall plane, but in order to actually land on a very small piece of land and take off on a very small piece of land, you need to be a good pilot. You need to be like a level 3 pilot. But if you have big space, big club, out in the desert somewhere in Nevada, I don't know, wherever you live, then you can be maybe just getting to this plane as your second plane. They're both 1.50 meters. They do need space to fly. They're not backyard flyers. But yeah.
Persons would fly in the backyard.
Not with none of these two. There's no
Can be
chance.
with the UMX friends one time.
Yeah, they can take a UMX or whatever.
Or when you have a glass above your head of the garden, you can fly it.
Anything else you want to say about the two?
Um,
Difficult landing with the Conscendo?
yes.
Hand launch is something people need to like or not.
Yes.
The wings, yeah, it would be
You
nice
made
if they come off.
You made sure that they want in the correct, the second.
Yeah.
So she's.
Yeah, it's not going to cut off your head. I mean, it can cut off things, but I mean, you have to be very stupid. I think people have managed to be very stupid on many YouTube videos. But yeah, you have to have some comfort level. You don't need anybody to throw the Conscendo. You can do this on your own. It's not a problem. You don't need somebody else to throw it and then you stand there. It's really not a problem.
I don't know where I was throwing the mic for you.
Yeah, the little meat.
Yeah.
That was very cute. That was good because, yeah, that's sometimes difficult to do with one hand and not be able.
Did it.
But here you really don't need to be. You put it in safe. You
It's
give
like
it full
so
power. You give it
You
full
make
power.
do like this. You let
You
go.
let it go because it flies
Get
right
away.
out of your hand. You don't need to toss it.
You
And the
never
turbo
let it
timber, I don't think you've flown it yet. No, that one you
do.
haven't.
With the UMX of it, yes.
Yes, the UMX version as well. That's actually really cute if you have the two next to each other. That's cute. I think that's all we wanted to say. We can highly recommend these two planes. This is our absolute favorite. So this is our second one. Bought as a backup because the price was a little bit reduced, but it may never replace the other one. It just maybe is going to fly next to each other. So maybe Noah will this summer fly this one and I fly the old one and we fly the two turbo timbers next to each other. Then we have to make sure that we film it and that we may paint it a little bit differently or something, that we recognize which plane is which plane.
We can do on one of the planes a camera, and then we can fly past by, and then it's really see out of the other one really
Yes.
nice to see that.
We can see. So I think that's pretty much everything we wanted to say. Oh, while I'm sitting here and yakking away, I just wanted to show you now the gadget that we haven't made a film of, and we have the Runcam 2 4K, and this is Sky RC speedometer and altimeter or altitude meter. And yes, there are, you can program for some smart telemetry, depends if you have the whole package, the receiver, the sender, the battery and so on, and the avian ESC. You can, of course, you get a lot of telemetry from Spectrum, and I think sometimes you can get the altitude, but not always, and you don't get the speed. So this was 89 francs. I'm sure in the US it's probably $60 or something like that. It works. Okay, we bought it, we tested it on remote control cars first of all, and we actually put it on a plane, on the T-28, I believe. And it did show us how high it was flying, and I can't wait to put it on the Conscendo to see how high the Conscendo goes. And it did show us the peak speed, so it's a lot of fun. It's very light.
The Air Cobra gonna be the speed.
And by the with the Air Cobra, we definitely have to test the speed. So I think that's more than we were planning to say. Highly recommend both planes. We do recommend this little gadget. Have a wonderful time. Stay safe, stay healthy, and goodbye from Switzerland, from the RC Brothers Switzerland.